Everything starts from where it is. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group for part number 4 of our 5-part series, God's Call to Mission, His call on us, and the idea of starting where we are. It's important, especially when we're going on a long journey. We can be thinking about the destination. We can be just dreaming up what we're going to do when we get there, but we will never get there without starting here, right here where we are. The same thing happens in God's call on our life, the mission that He has for us. We can have the idea of what we're going to be doing in that ministry, but that ministry has to start with a moment. And that moment of saying yes, that's the starting point. And don't worry about how far that starting point might be from the finish line, how far reality might be from the vision. Don't worry about how far it is. 1, because God is going to bridge that gap. But 2, right there where we are, that's exactly where God is too. See here in Acts chapter 1 and verse 8, when He was talking to the church, the early church, and the call to go and to preach the gospel after Jesus returned to glory, He says, "But you shall receive power. After that, the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth." Do we see the extension? It starts there in Jerusalem. He didn't tell them, go there and forget about what's around you. He said, start walking where you are. Start preaching right where you are. And if they're walking and preaching from point 1, they'll be doing that at point 2 and point 3 and point 4 and so on. This is how God intended the work to always take place. And this is not just for us as a body or as a people of God, but even as a person, as a child of God, starting right here. Galatians 6:7-8, the whole idea of the principle, the seed to harvest principle, be not deceived, God's not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall reap of the flesh corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. In this seed principle, the seed principle is not just about the fruit, but the fruit is that's the revelation of the genesis of a seed. When you look at our lives and when we think about our call, we think about where we're going to be going and what we're going to be doing. But all of that fruit, it starts with a seed. It's the moment of decision. It's that moment of accepting and saying yes. Abraham had to have that decision. Jacob had to have that decision. You and I have to have that decision. But we don't focus again on the tomorrow. Start today if we want to shape tomorrow. Finally, in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 1, cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. In other words, on the other side of many days, we'll see the result of a casting that took place many, many, many days ago. And this is a principle that the wise man Solomon gives in Ecclesiastes, the idea of and the virtue of investing in something and investing in ministry or investing in anything. We expect a return down the road. It's the same thing with God. The investment He's made in us, it's a return down the road, even into eternity, from something that happens today. Start where you are. Start in your classroom. Start in your home. Start in your office. Start in your cubicle. Start in your church. Start in your neighborhood. Start in your car. Wherever and however God is calling us to go forward. That first step is going to be right where we are, to lead us always where He promised to always be. When we follow Him, He's promised to be right here with us.